Born in Sweden, 89, and I was born here and raised here. And my parents are from former Yugoslavia. My father's from Serbia, and my mother's from Croatia. And I've lived here since I was a baby in Sweden with my parents and my sister. And I went to school when I was 6 years old, something like that, and started school. And then it was an ordinary school here in Sweden. We went there, and I was like any other kid, full of life and energy, and and stuff like that, and was starting to playing football at that age and other sports, and was with hanging out with friends, and did everything almost like a average 7-year-old boy, and he's doing. So yeah, that was my life at that stage, and it went on, and I got older, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and I was training football, like I said, and living my life, and I had pretty good had good grades. I went to Croatia when I was 10 years old. I moved there and started school there, and my father and my mom also came down there, and we lived there, and then we lived there, and I was in school there, and then after 1.5 years I came back to Sweden, and because the level of knowledge in some part of the school was so far behind in Croatia, then when I came back, I was 1 year ahead of the other people, the other kids. So then I started 1 year, before with the older kids, and then I went on, and and even then some things start to happen, because when you grow up in this Western world, you learn from a small age that maybe kissing a girl is okay, and you learn that maybe rock stars are like good people, and football players maybe who hasn't have good character, they are good people, and some kind of role models for the teenagers and for the kids, younger kids. So even at that age you get influenced by these things, and these lifestyle, and the way they think of how you should be like. And when I had my whole room was full of these posters of football, from Ronaldo, and different kinds of players, from all over the world. So that's when it starts when you lose focus from what your purpose in life is, and then you start focusing about to become a football player, or to become a rock star, or to become I don't know what, a gangster maybe, because you also grew up with these gangster movies, like I don't know, whatever the names are, you grew up with these things, and it's okay. Even in small age, when you see these cartoons, maybe you see this, I don't know what the Little Mermaid or something, that how to disobey your father, it becomes like natural. It's no problem to disobey him, your father, and go with that boy you want to be with, So even in that age, you get a picture of how the life should be. So that was the thing for me. I grew up, like I said, like any usual, if I use the term usual for that kind of I don't know, understanding of life. And then I was living that life, and I was good in football. I practiced football, I trained football almost every day, and I also handball and other sports, karate and other sports. So it was a lot about the sports and the school, to get good grades, and it was just to get good grades and be good in sports. That was the main reason, and of course not to use cigarettes and all other kind of stuff when you're at that part of age. Yeah, so yeah, that's another stage of life when you get used to it's different. I get some kind of how do you know, why am I here, what's my purpose to be here, maybe when I was 13 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
I was in the 8th grade here in Sweden, in Gothenburg, and I started wondering what's my purpose, why am I here, what is everything this, and I was feeling bad about this, like a crisis. I think many people go through when they're in that,
like a crisis.
Yeah, like a crisis. Yes, yeah. So and then, but after that, I think it just went off, and I didn't feel it anymore. But it was a quite long period of time that I thought about this crisis, like why am I here and stuff like that. And then it became like, first this with parties, music, mixing with girls, and hugging, and and stuff like that. And it's okay to kiss a girl, it's even cool to kiss a girl, and to have a lot of how do you say, female friends, or to have girlfriends and stuff like that. But because you grew up with these movie stars and these rap stars and these other, and they become your role models, and you see them in the music videos, how they act, how they talk, and how they dress, so it becomes something that you want to achieve in life. So then you imitate them. So it was, and also the football players, with that they're kind of I'm the best, and there's no one like me, and maybe stuff like that. So it became that kind of thing. It became stronger to be something, to be cool, in that kind of way. And also this with maybe it's the cigarettes. It started with something in Sweden. It's called snus, and it's something that it has tobacco. You put it under your lip, and then you get some kind of kick or something, So I remember when I first took it, I wanted to throw up, and I was maybe 13 years old at the time, and it started from there, and then it went on. Maybe after a year, maybe okay, cigarettes, I saw somebody's smoking, you think it's cool, and that's maybe when I was 16, and then I started with cannabis, this marijuana and hashish, this stuff. So it's like when you go upstairs, so it starts with this, and then it goes up and up, and after a while, it was I left school, I left my school, I left my football team, where I was quite good, I had chances to progress and to do something with a football career when I was maybe 16 and up to 17 years old, and between that time, 16 and 17, I started with these drugs like on a more regular basis, and I use them, cannabis, most of them, and also alcohol. I don't even mention it because it's so widespread, it's so common that you don't even like you know about it already. So alcohol was there even before, maybe from 12, 13, 14 years old. It's like normal, you drink sometimes, and then this cannabis, it's like an extra thing, and then it went on, and then I said, I stopped school. The high school when I was maybe 17 years old, 16 years old, 16 at the time, and then also the football team and everything, and then the social welfare, they came along with the police, and they took me and they put me in a team for adolescents, where to make them to good people again, but under 18, so like a prison for people under 18.
What was the reason why they put you in?
Because my days and my life and what I was doing and everything was totally out of it was totally chaotic. It was a disaster. So I like I said, I quit school, I quit football. I started with these drugs and buying a lot of clothes for big money and expensive clothes, and thought that's gonna give me happiness, and it didn't give me happiness. So it was like that, and I think also my parents, they wanted me to leave that thing, and to leave these bad friends and this bad lifestyle. Mm-hmm. But and then at the end, it became like the social welfare came along with my parents in some kind of way, and this police, and then they took me to this institution, and maybe 100 kilometers from Gothenburg, and in a forest, where they put other teenagers, and then I was there locked in. It was totally locked. I could not like this big thing around when you go on the garden. So it's like a juvenile prison, you can say. So I was there for maybe 2 months. They left me, and then they put me in another, also almost similar place like that. But it was a little bit more free, when you could go from the, how do you say, where you at the days, you could go to the where you play football and that. And then after a while, when I was there, I escaped from there. I ran through the forest, and then I got home, and and to make a long story short, I went from Sweden, and the police almost catch me here when I was in Sweden, because I was how do you say, they wanted, or
on the run.
Yeah, on the run. Yeah, so they looked for me, and they catched me, but I escaped from them, and then I went to Germany with my father, and I was how do you say, safe or something from them. But the problems went on, the hashish and the other things that they went on all the time. And I was trying to get something in the football, try to practice football, to train and to go to a club, but I was not on the level because of I was smoking cigarettes and I smoked hashish and stuff like that, so it was not the time for that. And then I went to Croatia and so on and so forth. And then I came back after a while, 4 or 5 months in Croatia, back to Sweden. And then when I was maybe 17 years old. And then I continued my life like that until until I became maybe 22, all the time from drugs and other, movies and parties and this and this, all haram and kufr, And I was Christian, if you call it Christian, like if they asked me before, I say yes, I'm a Christian. I had a cross, and sometimes I went to church, but not like on a regular basis. I went sometimes, when I wanted to go. And this was so my family, they're original Christians. But it's not like a practicing Christian family. So, when you ask me, but I always believed in God. I always believed that something made this universe to exist. But I didn't care so much about I didn't care, what does God want from me. I just, I wanted to live my life, become a football player, become a movie star, model, and so on and so forth. And that's what my main goals and objectives in life.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about how Islam came to your life? What was going on in your life? Obviously, you were telling us that you were heavily involved in drugs and whatnot. What was the scenario? What was the run-up to you finding out about Islam and becoming a Muslim?
Yeah, it was not a thing that I planned. It was nothing that was, expected in that kind of way, that I was studying the deen, the everything about Islam, what it says and what's it, it was not like that. So for me, like I told you before, it was this kind of lifestyle. And when you asked me about my religion, I said I was a Christian, but I was not practicing Christian. I know a lot more about Christianity today than I knew back then when I was a Christian. And so I was, this was 2012, 2012, something like that. 2012, yeah, something like that. And I was in Denmark. I was going to Denmark with a friend of mine. And I was, and then, it was a lot of drugs on that trip. I felt unconscious and and back and forth. And then a person drove the car. He almost smashed into the I don't know what you call it, on the highway. The
barriers on the highway.
Barrier, yeah. And then it was chaotic. And it was no good place to be in. And then. After that, I came to Denmark to a friend who was a football player, professional football player, and then I was there for a while. We talked, and it was like a bad environment. But then when everybody went to sleep, I went to the computer. I looked at the computer. It was not like, okay, now I'm gonna see about Islam, what Islam says about life. It was just something came which was already on the computer, and then I read this file, and I think it was a PDF file from. Qur'an's budskap, the message of the Qur'an. It's interpretation of the meaning on the Swedish language. And then I wrote, I saw this, and then it was written in like a Swedish text, and then I wrote it, I read it, and then I couldn't stop. I would just continue reading, and still at that time I had drugs in my body, but I was focused. I was focused. I know what I was reading. I couldn't stop. And I read for hours, and then I woke my friend up, who was sleeping in his room, and then he said to me, I can't remember exactly the wordings and stuff, but I think I asked him something about what is this, and this is insane. I don't know, I have to follow this, And he said to me, I became Muslim myself 2 days or 3 days ago, but don't tell anybody. So this guy, he's a Swedish Muslim, and he's white hair and blue eyes, and I didn't know he was Muslim when I came there. But then I woke up, he told me, and then I said I have to follow this. Then we called a brother from Sweden, who was a friend of ours before we were Muslims, and we called him, and then he answered, and on Skype he answered, and then I asked him, I just talked to him. I saw that he had a little beard, and it was a very nice feeling. It was something, it felt right. I couldn't care less about what my family is gonna say and what they and this and that. I just said I want to become Muslim, and then he said to me, like, I remember I said the Shahada in Arabic and Swedish, like I remember, and then and at that time, the next day, a guy that was in the room with us in the apartment, a bad person, he brought some cocaine to the house after the day after that, and he knew that we were Muslims. I was Muslim, he was Muslim, and still he got some cocaine in the house, you know. And then for the first time in my life, you know, I always been weak when I see, you know, maybe drugs, and when you see this cocaine, like they say it's the rich man's drug, and you know, and it's this Scarface and Tony Montana, and it's this rock stars and this, so it's like they make it glamorous, you know. So then I had this in front of me, and it cost maybe 1,000 crowns, I don't know in pound, maybe 80 pounds or 70 pounds for 1 gram, and then it was in front of me, and you know, for the first time I just took a part of it, and it was not mine, it was his. And this also guy, he had some contacts with the criminal people, and this I couldn't care less, you know, because these people, they were weak in the individuals. So by that kind of, I don't know, I felt some big warm and strong feeling that I just took it and I throw it out of the window, and he became, I don't know, angry and but maybe also scared. He think, who is this guy, you know? So I threw it out, you know, but I know him from before, and he's the same guy that I took these drugs with before. Not the football player. I talk about this other guy now. That was his drugs. Part of, I don't know, he maybe shared it with somebody, but it was his drugs also. So I just threw it away, and then from that, and then I didn't care, and then I lived I started learning about Islam, and this guy that I called on Skype, he went to Denmark maybe 2 days after that, and then this bad person, he went back to Sweden, and then I started to learn with my other brother, the football player in Denmark, about, you know, Islam, and to pray and to make wudu, and you know, and to don't look at women, to lower your gaze, you know, and stuff like that. So it was almost at the very beginning I started to practice Islam, and to try to understand and to be with Muslims and to go to the mosque, and so that's how I came into it. So it was not like a study, just like very very quick and very strong, and from that day I just changed, and I couldn't feel more right about my decision. So yeah, okay. So Alhamdulillah, Islam has made me it's a totally different life. It's to go from the darkness into the light. I've become Muslim away from kufr and haram and into the light of Islam, and to practice Islam. Not just to say I'm Muslim, you know, and to practice Islam. So I don't say I'm the best Muslim, but I strive to be as good as I can. So I pray 5 times a day. I try to be good to my wife. Alhamdulillah, I try to be good to my parents, obey my parents in everything that is good and correct, and to be good to people in general, to kuffar, to show them that Islam is justice and it's beauty. It's nothing about terrorism. So everything it's changed my life totally. I quit the drugs, the alcohol, all the haram, you know, even small things like to throw things on the, you know, you drink your I don't know, whatever you drink, and then you just throw it in you know, on the ground. It's, you know, stuff like that. It was, you know, everyday food, or what do you call it. But now you think about these things, to throw it in a garbage can, to be good, to help somebody over maybe the road, or to show somebody the way. All these kinds the aspects of Islam, because Islam is so great. So Alhamdulillah, it's made a so big impact on my life, and I strive to become as good as I can in this life, so I can gain the paradise and the Jannah in the hereafter.
What advice have you got to Muslims and also non-Muslims in regarding this people who may want to look into Islam, and also people who are already Muslim? What advice have you got to them?
So this advice is first to myself, and then to you, Muslims and non-Muslims. My advice is to think about this world, and that we are created for a purpose. Our purpose is not just to gain materialism and to gain some social status or something like that, or to be a football player, or to be a basketball player, or whatever. That's not the main goal and objective in our lives. So my advice is to understand that Islam is submission to Allah, to God, to the creator of the heavens and the world and everything that exists. And through that submission you get peace in your life and you get the paradise in the hereafter. And so I just want to say that you should strive to do your best and to leave bad company. Don't let bad company, even if you know them for 10 years, 15 years, and they call you bro and they call you this and this. If they don't give you something good and they don't like put you in a good place, or then just, you know, try to focus on yourself, on your life, and think about it. You're gonna be asked about your life and what you did with it and what you spend with the information, the knowledge that you got. So my advice is to just keep on and to do your best for the Muslims, to not just say I'm Muslim and then just eat baklava 2 times a year and then just, you know, on Eid, you know, and mashallah Bayram and this, you know, it's not that, that's not Islam. You know, Islam is to practice Islam in Ramadan and outside Ramadan, and to be as good Muslims as you can, and not just to say I'm a Muslim, because what kind of Muslim are you if you don't pray, you don't fast, you don't obey your parents, you do drugs, you don't even know one, maybe 2 prophets of Islam, but you know maybe the whole Barcelona football team, and you know that's not a real Muslim. You should try to focus on what's gonna gain you, because it's in your interest to be to pray. It's in your interest to fast. You know, if I pray for myself, and also if I can you know, give influence to others, it's very good. But you're gonna ask about your life and how you spent it. So that's my advice, to just keep on thinking about this. Och mitt råd till er som kan svenska, som jag sa på engelska, att vi har blivit skapade för ett syfte, att underkasta oss Guds vilja, och att vara bra muslimer, och att leva i den här jorden och den här världen som bra muslimer och göra de plikter som vi har. Och det är som sagt i vårt intresse att göra detta, att be och fasta och att göra allt annat som islam säger. Och vi kommer bli frågade om detta på domedagen, så det är upp till oss att ta tag i det här och kämpa och göra det bästa av situationen. Och lämna alla dåliga vänner, även om du har känt dem i hur många år som helst, och vara med bra personer som stimulerar dig och ger dig alltså ambition, och ger dig kraft och ger dig glädje och så vidare, som stöttar dig att vara på den raka vägen, och lämna allt annat. Och sen också så tycker jag att man ska se den här jorden som en väldigt kort period, för vi känner även många som har dött, som ligger i graven, och tänka på detta, och att förstå att vi också kommer vara där en dag, och då är det för sent att komma tillbaka till den här världen. Det är för sent att ångra sig, så man måste ta tag nu i detta liv. And I just wanted to say that for the non-Muslims, I just wanted to say to you to make your own research, to go to the source, don't listen to CBC or Fox News or whatever or London News or stuff like that. Just see what Islam says about forcing your daughter to get married, what Islam says about terrorism, what Islam says about all these things that people think that, okay, this is Islam. Islam is not that. Islam is free of all of that. So when you go to the source, when you read the Quran in Arabic, or the interpretation of the meaning, you will see that this is God's word, and then you have to follow this. Otherwise, you will be responsible, and God is gonna judge everybody in a just way. So we have to think about this, and to try to strive and be good people. Yeah, I want to thank you all for listening and for having patience with me, and I wish you that God gives you everything that's best for you, and barakallahu fikum wa jazakallahu khairan.